Let's talk about a number that used to mean everything: $100,000. For decades, this was the golden ticket, the American dream wrapped in six figures. If you made $100,000, you weren't just surviving, you were thriving. You were the person who drove the nice car, owned the big house on the hill, took vacations to Europe, and had a fully funded retirement account. But today? Today, earning $100,000 feels heavy. It feels like a trap. You look at your bank account at the end of the month and you ask yourself the same terrifying question. Where did it all go? You aren't buying Ferraris. You aren't flying private jets. You are buying eggs, paying rent, and filling up your gas tank. Yet, you are living paycheck to paycheck. Here is the brutal truth that the news won't tell you. You are not crazy. You are not bad with money. You are the victim of a silent economic robbery. The buying power of six figures has been systematically destroyed. In 2024, earning $100,000 provides the same lifestyle that earning $40,000 did just a few decades ago. In this video, I am going to show you the math that proves the American middle class is dead, and exactly what you need to do to escape the trap before it's too late. Let's start with the first lie: the salary. When you sign an offer letter for $100,000, your brain thinks you have $100,000 to spend. You don't. You have a business partner. His name is Uncle Sam, and he is terrible with money. Let's look at a single person living in a standard Tier 1 city where these high salaries actually exist, like New York, Los Angeles, or even Chicago. Right off the top, the federal government takes its share. That's roughly $15,000 to $17,000, depending on your deductions. Then you have FICA taxes, Social Security, and Medicare. That's another $7,650 gone before you even wake up. But wait, we aren't done. State and local taxes. If you are in California or New York, say goodbye to another $6,000 to $9,000. So, let's do the real math. Your $100,000 is actually $68,000 of take-home pay. That breaks down to about $5,600 per month. Now, $5,600 sounds okay, right? It sounds manageable. But this is where the cost of living crisis punches you in the face. This number hasn't adjusted for the reality of 2024 prices. The government tax brackets barely move, but your costs have doubled. You are being taxed like a rich person from 1990, while living like a poor person in 2024. The single biggest destroyer of wealth for your generation is housing. Let's go back to 1980. The median home price was $47,000. Interest rates were high, yes, but the median income was around $21,000. The ratio was roughly 2.5 to 3. This means a house cost 3 times your annual salary. A standard family could save for a down payment in 2 years. Fast forward to today. The median home price in the U.S. is over $400,000. But in the cities where you can actually earn $100,000, a starter home is often $800,000 or $1 million. If you make $100,000, banks literally will not lend to you for a median home in a major city. You don't qualify, so you are forced to rent. The average rent for a decent one-bedroom apartment in these cities is now hovering around $2,800 a month. Remember your paycheck? It was $5,600. You just spent 50% of your net income on a roof over your head. Financial experts say you should never spend more than 30%. Well, the market doesn't care what experts say. You are now left with $2,800 for everything else. And we haven't even touched debt yet. To get that $100,000 job, you likely needed a degree, maybe even a master's. The cost of college has risen by 169% since 1980. Wages for young workers have risen by 19%. You see the gap? That gap is filled with debt. The average monthly student loan payment is between $300 and $500. Let's be conservative and say $400. Now, add a car. You need to get to work. The average car payment in America has hit a record high of $700 a month. Add $200 for insurance and gas. You are now paying $1,300 a month just to service your debts and commute to the job that pays you the money to pay the debt. It's a hamster wheel. Let's look at our running total. We had $2,800 left after rent, minus $1,300 for loans and transport. You have $1,500 left for the whole month. That is roughly $50 a day for food, for clothes, for internet, for your phone, for medical co-pays, for the gym, for dating, for saving. $50 a day. Does that sound like wealth? Does that sound like the American dream? No. That sounds like survival. But wait, it gets worse. You might be screaming at the screen, but the government says inflation is down to 3%. This is the most dangerous lie of all. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, is a flawed metric. It is designed to mask the pain. They use something called hedonic adjustments and substitution. If the price of steak goes up, they assume you will switch to hamburger. If hamburger goes up, they assume you eat chicken. If chicken goes up, well, enjoy the bugs. Because you substituted the expensive item for a cheaper one, the CPI says inflation is low. But your standard of living has collapsed. Look at the things you cannot substitute. Childcare. In many states, daycare costs $20,000 a year per child. That is post-tax money. If you have 2 kids, your entire $100,000 salary is effectively gone. Groceries. Companies are using shrinkflation. The bag of chips is 20% smaller. The price is 20% higher. The quality of ingredients is worse. This is why you feel poor. Because the specific items required to have a middle-class life, education, healthcare, housing, and quality food, have inflated at double or triple the rate of official inflation. Your dollar is rotting from the inside out. There is another factor here: expectations. In 1990, you didn't know what everyone else was doing. Today, you open Instagram and see 20-year-olds in Dubai. You see your friends buying homes, usually with help from parents. This creates a pressure to spend money you don't have to keep up appearances. We spend money we haven't earned, to buy things we don't need, to impress people we don't like. When you combine this social pressure with the economic reality of high costs, you get a generation that is burnt out, anxious, and financially paralyzed. You are running as fast as you can, but the treadmill is moving faster. So, is it hopeless? Should you just give up and live in a van? No, but you have to wake up. You must realize that the $100,000 salary is no longer the destination. It is just the starting line. The old advice, save 10% and put it in a savings account, is dead. With real inflation at 7 to 8%, your savings account is losing money every day. The only way out is asset accumulation. You cannot labor your way to wealth anymore. You have to own things. First, you need to lower your major expenses. House hacking, driving a used car, moving to a lower tax state. Second, You need to invest aggressively, not just safe bonds. You need exposure to the S&P 500, real estate, or Bitcoin, assets that have historically outpaced the destruction of the dollar. Third, you need a second stream. Your $100,000 job is risky. One layoff, and you are at zero. You need a side business, a consulting gig, a YouTube channel, anything that is scalable. The system is designed to keep you a worker bee until you are 65. The $100,000 salary is the carrot they dangle to keep you moving. Don't eat the carrot. Plant it. Use that income to buy your freedom. It will be hard. It will require sacrifice. But the alternative is being a highly paid poor person for the rest of your life. If you want to know exactly how to allocate that $1,500 we found earlier into assets that actually grow, watch this video right here. I break down the portfolio that beats inflation. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.